Today on Dusty Vision Radio, we're going to talk about diss songs. All throughout its history, dissing has been a big thing in hip-hop. Going way back to the Queensbridge versus South Bronx situation, fans like myself have always enjoyed a good diss record. I'm going to talk about dissing on today's show, and even more specifically, some of my favorite diss songs of all time. Before we get started, comment down below. What are some of your favorite diss songs of all time? Here are some of mine. Let's start with one I've already mentioned. The Queensbridge versus South Bronx feud.
That beef came about because it's the natural form of hip-hop. You see somebody doing something that you ain't like, you talk about them.
MC Shan and the Juice Crew versus KRS and BDP. We're going to light this J because this is going to be a fun show. Love talking hip-hop with you. Now, going back to that feud between the Juice Crew and BDP, I remember like it was yesterday, and it was one of the first times in hip-hop where I was all ears. I was all in.
Mr. Magic, who at that time in the mid-'80s was the pinnacle and height of what it meant to be an on-air DJ who played hip-hop music. He was the man, known around the world, Mr. Magic's Rap Attack. And here you had up-and-coming artists, KRS-One, Scott LaRock, bringing their record to Mr. Magic and him not feeling it.
This KRS crew.
Who are they?
Where are they from? Casanovas don't know them.
Casanovas don't know them.
Sounds like a couple of, sounds like sauce. Ragu, homeboy. We will battle you anytime, any place, anywhere.
We leave frustrated. Magic dissed us. He wouldn't even give us the time. He wouldn't even. Who he think he is? Now, somewhere along the line, we get the impression that Mr. Magic said our tape was whack, whack, whack. He heard it and said it was garbage. I said, garbage? MC Shan is garbage?
They were playing the songs out here on Los Angeles radio, KDAY specifically, and I think it was KGFJ. They were one of the first pioneers of radio, specifically that played hip-hop, and it was always late at night. They weren't playing it at like 11 a.m., 2 p.m., like they are today and like they did, when hip-hop blew up. But back then, you could really only listen to hip-hop at night. And I remember whenever a rap song would come on the radio, I was right there with my tape deck, holding down that record button, holding down that play button so I could record and get as much of this thing that I was introduced to called hip hop, as much of it as I could. Back then, I was hooked. And this was one of the first, specifically KRS-One song. When he came out with South Bronx and then he came out with The Bridge Is Over in those beats, I was just like, I remember listening like, I've never heard anything like this. It was like, imagine, see, nowadays, not much comes out to where you're like, man, I've never heard anything like this before. Like, think about it. What was the last artist where you were like, man, I've never heard anything like this before? I mean, Outkast comes to mind, right? Young Thug. I know a lot of you are not going to agree with me on that one. But as a student of hip hop, I think Young Thug brought a new style to the game. Soulja Boy. Yeah, Dusty Vision is saying Soulja Boy. Dusty Vision is tripping. He don't know real hip hop. Man, Soulja Boy, when he came out with that Superman, think about it. You ain't never heard anything like that before. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And I just remember listening to those beats by the Juice Crew, listening to those beats by KRS, both of them, and just thinking, man, I never heard anything like this before. And I was hooked. And I didn't understand back then the story behind it until I started consuming magazines and whatever else I can get my hand on when it came to hip hop. But I didn't understand the beef between them and how serious it got until later on.
If there was no me, tell me, would there ever be a Chris? No QB, tell me, would there ever be a diss? Thank God and Miss Parker for the fact that you're here, but thank me for your career, you're here.
And basically the whole thing was over, where did hip hop start? Did it start in Queensbridge or did it start in the Bronx? And I think, as history has came to tell us, I mean, I guess everyone can agree that it was South Bronx, right? Like, can we agree? Is there anyone, like, of course, Queensbridge was there from the beginning, but I think after this has all been said and done, I think most of us could agree that hip hop started in the South Bronx.
MC Shan could have won the battle simply by ignoring me. I'd be nowhere. There'd be no KRS-One. There'd be no 12 albums, no Stop the Violence movement, no Human Education Against Lies, no Temple of Hip Hop, nothing. It was because MC Shan understood hip hop that he said, oh no, this guy's stepping to me.
But out of this, Cape, KRS-One, arguably one of the greatest MCs of all time. I used to be a much bigger fan of his back then, especially that song, Love's Gonna Get You. Love's Gonna Get You, Love's Gonna Get You. Love's Gonna... That was my song. But as I got older, I kind of like didn't like KRS-One music. Like, I'll keep it real. Like, I wasn't a big fan. He kind of became, dare I say, corny. That's just my opinion. I wasn't really feeling him. And I know, once again, he's a hip-hop pioneer, and I'm not supposed to say this about a hip-hop pioneer. Come on, dog. Can we just be honest? If one thing, can we just be honest without hurting people's feelings? I thought there was a period of time where KRS-One was corny as fuck. But there was a period of time, especially during this beef with the Juice Crew and his songs that he created after that, like Love's Gonna Get You, one of my favorite songs. To this day, I bump that song. But then, like, late 80s, 90s, he became corny to me. So whatever it is, call me whatever you want. I don't know hip hop. I don't know good hip hop. Whatever. Say whatever you want. But that feud, the Queensbridge versus South Bronx feud, definitely was up there. And in hindsight, it's one of my favorite feuds of all time. What's another one? There are a lot of them, guys. I mean, there's a lot of good songs out there. A lot of good diss records. You know, I guess I can name a lot of the obvious, but this is my list. Okay, this is my list. And comment down below. Comment down below. What are your favorite diss songs of all time? But these are mine. Let's see. I'm going to go next up. I'm going to have to go. Let's go Calling Out Names. Ooh, that's a good one, huh? That one's usually not on people's list. Calling Out Names by Corrupt. Corrupt from the Dog Pound.
You know, people will pump you up if you allow them to, if you let them. And, like, you know, I can say that a lot of people, you know, told me things that I took to heart. That this person was saying this, and this person said that, and in this magazine, this person said that. DMX was just a straw that broke the camel's back. You know what I'm saying? To where my anger was. And so then I just let it all go.
This was tail end of the East Coast, West Coast situation. That was still kind of a thing, right? Pac had already been passed. Biggie had already been passed, but it was still a little touchy. You know, Calling Out Names maybe came out in 98, 99. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 98. But I remember when I heard that beat and then I heard Corrupt just start busting. I don't give a catch me in the hood, all blue chucks, gang bang the fuck out. Only thing I like that Rod Ruff is Eve, and all the rest of you suckers that Rod Ruff get D's. I'ma tell you one more time, and I won't say it again. Corrupt said it, motherfucker, from beginning to end. Salamander ass, caterpillar ass, motherfuckers, bust ass, killer motherfuckers. If it wasn't for the West, these rap niggas wouldn't need a vest for their chest. Quoted by the effing homie X. The locks, y'all, my motherfuckers can't forget y'all, and that's spoken on by the motherfucking dog. All the rest of y'all, tell you like this: eat a fat. I'm calling out names. And then he says, F Rough Riders, F the Firm, F Belly. Oh, man. Oh, man, as a hip-hop fan, I was in. I was like, this was 98, 99, so I'd already been listening to hip-hop for, what, 12, 13, whatever, 14 years at that point. So I was in. And Corrupt at that time was one of my favorite MCs of all time.
You know, DMX is the main thing everybody concentrates on, but they don't really talk about Murder Inc. They don't really talk about the Rough Riders in the whole, or the Firm. You know what I'm saying? And everybody else that I spoke on. But there was a lot of different people I was upset at and angry about things that went on or what I heard.
Right.
And I put the cart before the horse.
He said, the only X I know is Exhibit, a RBX extraordinary, trying to snatch my bitch. You can keep the bitch. Two bitches getting rich. And then he was talking about the whole situation with DMX. He was going at DMX in this song. That's why he said F Belly earlier, because DMX was in Belly, right? So he says F Belly, says F DMX, only X I know is Exhibit, a RBX. West Coast references right there, right? We don't know you X on this side of the map. Obviously, everyone loved DMX and RIP to this day. And thankfully, Corrupt and DMX ended up mending their relationship. But it was big. And apparently, it all started with Foxy Brown. Apparently, because Foxy Brown was Corrupt's girl. I mean, they were an established Hollywood couple, right? And they were established hip-hop couple. You know, before hip-hop couples were a thing. So, you know, they're out there doing their thing. Everyone knows Foxy Brown and Corrupt are together. They're traveling everywhere. I think he ended up proposing to her or marrying her, one or the other. But, you know, he apparently was in love with Foxy Brown. And allegedly Foxy Brown did something with the Dog Man, with DMX, with Dog Man X.
I was in my feelings, and I was really just upset the whole experience with this young lady, and just upset, period, at the way I was being treated. Being with this young lady, you know, and just let off some steam throughout the time of being with her.
And that's why he said you can have the B. Two B's getting rich. Come to the West Coast and get stripped down, beat to death, tripping all over. Man, Corrupt was going off on this. And he was just tagging everybody, man. And he was also showing love to the people that he loved. He said, Cannabis, Wu-Tang, my niggas, cool. And then he just said, Def Squad and Def Jam, but F Ja Rule. And he said, try to sign Daz. Daz will sign you. So I guess they tried to sign Daz back in the day. Ja Rule's crew. Because Daz was a hot producer, man. Daz was doing a lot of work. And Daz to this day is one of the best producers of all time.
And really, you know, things like this, you talk to people man to man. You really don't voice it through the music. You know what I mean? You know, the way I grew up, you know, if you really want to smash somebody, beat them up first, and then you can talk about them.
Right.
You know, but don't talk about them first. You know, and I was just really angry.
But who did that calling out names beat? I have my notes in front of me. I don't have any notes. I just sit down, crack open a beer, and roll up a J and just start talking. But I feel like, was it DJ Pooh? Let me look it up. Hold on. Who did the calling out names? Calling out names. Fred Wreck. Oh, man. I should have known that was a Fred Wreck track. Fred Wreck was one of them ones, boy. And that beat right there was hard. It was released on the Streets Is a Mother album, which is a good album. If anybody wants to go check out a really good, solid project, check that one out. The Streets Is a Mother. Corrupt was releasing some dope songs. I gotta do one specifically on Corrupt. I've done Dog Pound together as a collective, but I gotta do Corrupt specifically because he has a whole story himself. So don't be surprised if I do Corrupt. But he even released an album just before this one that was really good as well, and right after this. What was it? One was called like Space. It was like a space theme or some shit like that. And then he also had the West Coast East Coast CD. It was a double CD, and one CD was West Coast based and, you know, more West Coast beats, and the other CD was East Coast beats because he's always established and shown love to the fact that he's from Philadelphia. He was born in Philadelphia. He is, don't get it twisted. Corrupt is Los Angeles, and he will go down as one of the dopest MCs to ever touch a mic. Shout out to Corrupt and shout out to calling out names. But let's keep it pushing, man. Before I continue, I'm going to ask you to hit that like button. Smash that like button really quick for your boy. I would appreciate the heck out of that. And what are some of your favorite diss songs? Comment down below. Let's go to another one of my favorite diss songs, man. I'm just going in regular order. Like, in these, a lot of these, once again, they're not going to be on lists that you you know what I'm saying? Like everyone knows the top 10 diss list, right? And a couple of mine are on there. You know what I'm saying? We'll get to that later, but my diss songs are probably not going to be on the conventional top 10 of all diss songs. But my next one would have to be Record Haters by E40. What? E40 has a diss track? Man, E40 smashed a few people on this diss song called Record Haters. If you're an E40 fan and you don't know about that song, I highly suggest you go check it out. E40 is one of my favorites of all time. One thing I love about E40 is he's been rapping the same way since 1988. You pop in an E40 tape from 1991 and you pop in an E40 tape from 2018, it's gonna sound like E40 in 2025. One of the dopest, one of my favorites, and I've always loved his different style. But not many people always liked E40. And I remember people back in the day saying E40 was whack. Man, look, you could say whatever you want. You could say you don't like his style. You could say he annoys you. You could say you hate how he says for sheezy, deezy, my kneesy, or whatever. But one thing you can't say is E40's whack, especially if you're, you know what I'm saying, a true hip-hop fan. There are people I like, I didn't really like, I didn't care for, but I would never call them whack. Like, I was never a big DMX fan. I was like, I didn't understand a lot of the big deal about DMX. I didn't appreciate it, as I should say. But that doesn't mean he's not one of the greatest. I mean, when I hear DMX buzz bars, I'm like, oh, that dude got it. But I just wasn't, for whatever reason, it didn't connect to me. You know what I mean? But a lot of people didn't like E40, especially a lot of people on the East Coast. That's right. And people were talking bad about E40. Biggie said something bad about E40. And yeah, that didn't go too well for Biggie when he came out to the West Coast.
We head out, get to the back. The limousine is there, but the driver's gone. All of a sudden, you start hearing the trunks of cars opening. You just hear boom, 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 boom. Like, what the hell is that? And you just hear. I turn around, I'm like, oh shit. It's a gang of dudes with guns. They come up and they just very irate. That was some bullshit your man said in the newspaper. He did the article about my man. We getting ready to get him. I said, you know what? Get that man on the phone. I think that man and Big need to talk.
So they called me and he put me on the phone, say, man, what's happening? What was up with that, situation? Man, they got me real drunk, man, and I just got to saying anything, man, and, and what else he said? He said, man, Duke, he said, I f*** with Sprinkle Me Duke. I rock with Sprinkle Me Duke. You know what I mean? And I was like, ooh, I didn't trip. I was like, man, I told him, I said, put my folks on the phone.
But another rapper from the East Coast, Dope MC, he decided to make a comment in a magazine about E40. And that comment didn't sit well with E40. Basically called him whack.
Nigga said some negative shit about me up in a magazine.
E40 had a verse and it started off and it went something like this. He said, got another motherfucker on my shit list. I'ma cut off his dick list. I mean my hit list, my rest in piss list. Dude that be hanging around Nas, gay baby. Nigga says some negative shit about me up in a magazine called 4080 after watching New York Undercover when I was taking a shit. Cool Keith was on the front cover. That's when I spotted him. That nigga Eazy tried to say that I don't deserve a platinum plat. Nigga, I was selling tapes out the trunk of my car when you was running around drinking Similac. All up in your fake ass videos. Champagne popping full of skrill, knowing damn well your punk ass ain't had no meal. I mean, E40 just destroyed AZ, dog. Can we dissect that verse? And how E40 raps so fast, but he is so clear. Can we dissect that verse? He said, I got another motherfucker on my shit list. Oh, and what he meant by another mother effer was because in the first verse, he dissed Rasheed Wallace. Because Rasheed Wallace was talking trash as well. He was the one saying Goody Mob is trash and all that. And then he said, I don't fool with E40.
It was my rookie season. Okay. And Rap City. Okay. Shout out to my man, Big Tig. So Tig was the host. So I remember going down there. We out at like a little playground and he hit me with the, so he like, man, you know, I noticed you like hip hop. I see you before the game, you know, you bobbing your head back and forth. He's like, you know, what's some of the music you listening to? I was like, well, you know, I rock with Redman, I fuck with Wu-Tang, you know, Biggie, all of this. I was like, and then I was like, yeah, you know, I don't listen to the E40s and the Goody Mob. And then so, you know, he was like, oh, okay. And then it took off from there.
So E40 started out with Rasheed Wallace, but the second verse, the one that I just recited and the one that we're going to dissect right now, dissing AZ, Nas's protege, right? From The Firm. We know about The Firm. Firm was hard. Foxy Brown, AZ and Nas. Great album in my opinion. But he said, got another motherfucker on my list. I'm going to cut off his dick list. I mean my hit list, my rest in piss list. He said, dude that be hanging around Nas, you know, gay baby. Nigga said some negative shit about me up in a magazine called 4080. A magazine called 4080. If you know about 4080, you are a true West Coast hip hop fan, especially if you do not live on the West Coast or in the Midwest or something like that, because 4080 was the lick, and that was another one of those magazines. It was not The Source, it was not Vibe where people pay to get in and stuff like that, or you know, the only certain people you're gonna see. No, in magazines like 4080, that's where you're gonna learn about the clique. That's where you're gonna learn about E40 and Mac Dre and Crucial Conflict. That's where you're going to learn about artists like that the Vibe and The Source won't put in. That's where you're going to learn about the artists that the streets are talking about. Magazines like 4080 and Murder Dog. Come on now. If you know your real hip hop, you know about those two magazines. But AZ was in a magazine called 4080 talking crap about E40. He said, I was watching New York Undercover when I was taking his shit. Kool Keith was on the front cover. That's when I spotted him. That nigga AZ tried to say that I don't deserve a platinum plaque. Nigga, I was selling tapes out the trunk of my car when you was running around drinking Similac. He said, boy, if you don't sit down, AZ. He said, AZ, sit. Yo, let me little boy you, dog. He said, let me little boy you. He said, I was selling tapes out of the trunk of my car when you was running around drinking Similac, son. When I heard that, I'm like, damn, because everyone knows that's where E40 came from. E40 sold hundreds of thousands of tapes before he even blew up. Then he says to AZ, says, champagne popping full of skrill. Nigga, know damn well your punk ass ain't had no meal. He said, boy, if you don't sit down, AZ, real quick, you don't even got a meal. He said, Big Bang, take Lil Bang. He said, you guys remember playing, let's play Big Bang, take Lil Bang, man. You know, you got $2 in your pocket, your broke friend got $1.17, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Both y'all broke as hell, but you play Big Bang, take Little Bang. That was a game. He said, boy, I will Big Bang take Little Bang your little ass, AZ. And yeah, I never heard a word from AZ regarding E40 after that. And I guess AZ felt that since Biggie went after E40, that E40 was food and that E40 was going to, you know, take it in stride. But E40 was like, nah, homie, nah. But yes, so that's also one of my favorite diss songs of all time. What are some of yours? Like I said, comment down below. Talk to me. Let me know what are some of your favorite diss songs of all time. Let's see, another one that really jumps out at me. Real Mother Effin' G's. Real Mother Effin' G's by the late great Eazy Mother Effin' E. Compton, Compton, Compton. Da 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 da. Real Mother Effin' G's. I mean, come on, dog. That's probably one of the hardest tracks in hip hop history, period. Period. I know who did that track. I just, off the top of my head, I'm having a brain fart. But who did Real Mother Effin' G's? Who did Real Mother Effin' G? Oh, it was Rhythm D. That's right.
I went in and I was like, okay, I'm going to sample my voice going, Real Mother. Jeez. So I sampled me doing that on the mic. So I was like, how can I make this sound evil? Because Eazy liked evil, dark sounding beats. So I was like, let me go ahead and make it sound as dark and evil as possible.
I'm gonna get Rhythm D on the show, dude. And that's where we got introduced to the knockout definition, original baby gangsta. Thinking of a hood, motherfucker, I'ma bank ya, shank ya with my damn shake. Cause I'm half the Dr. Dre and Snoop Doggy Dogs are fucking actors, pranksters, studio gangsters, busters. This time you're dealing with some real Jeez.
I ended up going to the studio with them, and they were working on Real Compton City G's, and actually I wasn't even supposed to be a part of that song. The funny thing about it, I just happened to be there while they was recording it.
And then we get introduced to Draysta, Gangsta Draysta, claiming my city, but Dre, you ain't from Compton. I mean, come on, dog. What a great, great song, in my opinion. And I thought BG Knockout was going to, I thought his career was going to go through the roof. I really enjoyed BG Knockout. He had a couple other songs. And there was another one specifically where him and Draysta were just going at the dog pound, man.
We sitting on the balcony drinking. I see Snoop coming. Behind him, Warren G. I don't know if I think it was the Dub Shack, the Twins. And then Nate Dogg was like the last one in the crowd. So he was like Long Beach. I was like Nutty Block Crip. He was like Long Beach. I was like Nutty Block Crip. And he just kept on walking. They was on the golf carts just riding. Everybody high and drunk. So they down there clowning. So I'm going to meet my brother. Nate Dogg swooped on me. He swooped on me, but he ran over my foot. So I chased this golf cart. I'm like, I'm behind the golf cart chase. So he got out the golf cart and he was like, what's up? I'm like, nigga, why you run over my foot? He's like, you better get out. I just fired on him. Bam. And when I fired on him, I dropped him. But I heard all of his boys coming behind me, the Twins and all them, and I turned around and rushed one of them. And then my brother came over there, and then that's when you see all the madness happen.
But this beef was really, really deep. Everyone knows this is at the height of when Ruthless and Death Row were just not feeling each other. And Dre Day met Eazy's payday, and Eazy was getting paid off of music that Dr. Dre was putting out, and they were meeting in the streets, and straps were being pulled, and I believe lives were being lost. It was a big deal, this whole Ruthless versus Death Row thing. And it was loosely portrayed, and I put loosely in, I say loosely in Straight Outta Compton because a lot of that was false, but it was portrayed in Straight Outta Compton. Good movie, good hip hop movie. That's another show I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to do top hip hop movies. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna do top hip hop movies of all time. I mean, Crush Groove is in there off top, right? Crush grooving, body moving. I'm gonna do that soon, guys. That might be next week's show. I think I just sparked an idea for next week's show because there are some great hip hop related movies. The Show is another one. Have you guys seen The Show? Of course you've seen The Show. Biggie's in it. Snoop and the Dog Pound are in it. But yeah, going back to Real Mother F and G's, man, that was a song that was hard. And this whole beef was really, really deep. And it sucks because Dre and Eazy, they were friends, and they just parted due to money issues.
First of all, I want to start off with those studio gangsters out there.
Wait. I just want to define it for Middle America, a studio gangster.
It's somebody that's not real. They go in the studio and all of a sudden become hard when they used to do dance music.
Okay.
I'll tell you about it a little later.
Okay.
I don't believe nothing they say anyway. Talking about I ganked them for whatever and all that, so don't ever believe everything you hear.
I had no idea that you make money off product from Dr. Dre and Snoop. Now, how did that work out?
Basically, I had Dre signed as exclusive producer and exclusive artist.
Mm-hmm.
So when Dre tried to make his deal over at Interscope, I was included for the next 6 years. So you can say all you want to say. Basically, you could diss me all you want, but I'm going to get paid. Because that's why I say Dre Day is only Eazy's payday.
But what a time this was, man. This was when I was fully in. I was fully into hip hop. Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I might as well talk about one of my other favorite ones on the list, and I just mentioned it earlier, but it involves the same beef as the F with Dre Day. Bow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay. Death Row's in the motherfucking house. Bow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay. The sounds of a dog take me to another day. Play with my bone, would you, Timmy? It seemed like you're good for making jokes about your Jimmy. So he was talking about Tim Dog. That's why he said Timmy. That was when Tim Dog had that song called F Compton. I did a whole show on that. I'd have a couple clips on my channel of the whole Tim Dog versus Compton situation. So if you're feeling bored one day and you want to jump into that, type in Dusty Vision Tim Dog and you should be able to find that. But that was an interesting time. You know, Tim Dog decided one day to create a song called F Compton.
I decided to do a demo called Compton, you know, to show everybody, you know, how I feel about them, you know, because it seemed like the whole world was on their why I don't know, you know, because they obviously was lying to everybody, you know, they was perpetrating the fraud, and where I'm from, when you do that, you get beat down.
That didn't sit too well with a lot of people in Compton, and Dre being from Compton, he has to put him in one of his, arguably his biggest songs. After G Thing, I would think F with Dre Day is probably Dre's biggest song, right? Let Me Ride would be up there too, but I really feel like, yeah, that F with Dre Day, I think that's probably, after G Thing, that has to be his biggest song. So for Tim Dog to be immortalized in that song is very interesting. They, of course, dissed Eazy. One person they also dissed was Luke from 2 Live Crew. And I've talked about this before. I actually have a couple of videos on my channel. If you type in Dusty Vision 2 Live Crew or Dusty Vision 2 Live Crew, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So make a note to check that out after this show.
And the crazy part of Jack the Rapper I talk about in the book was when we had the big fight with Snoop Dogg them in Death Row. Yeah. You know, when we had the little beef going on, and then they eventually came down to Jack the Rapper. And I tried to talk to Jack and his wife, not his wife, but daughter Jill, and say, look, you need to arrange a sit down with me and Suge Knight, because if they gonna come down here, you know, there's so many people from Miami. I got so much love in Atlanta, it's gonna be an ugly sight. Yeah. You know, because we got this beef and they saying this about me and I'm saying this about them. It's gonna get crazy. And they were like, oh, we ain't gotta worry about that. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing. And then before you know it, everybody was stabbed up, cut up. Everything in the world was thrown out the rooms, all down. It was crazy. It was a melee.
Death Row and some members of Death Row, I should say, and Luke's crew ended up meeting and crossing paths a couple times, but one time specifically, I do believe it was Atlanta. And from all accounts, the Death Row guys didn't, didn't come out on top.
Yeah, we'll sit you down. You see what I'm saying? We'll touch you up and sit you down. You know, and that was the whole thing. I mean, you know, me and Snoop, you know, I don't want nobody to get me and Snoop, we cool. I met Dr. Dre one time. Eazy and Cube, them was my dudes. Going back to the, you know, to that whole beef thing, you know, when I talk about it, it's like the whole South rise up. When some dudes say something about a Southern guy. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And especially, you know, people on the street know the history. Exactly. They knew what I was doing in Atlanta, Miami, you know, Charlotte, Fayetteville, South Carolina. They knew, okay, Unc is that guy. You know what I'm saying? And they, you know, the Lil Petey Pablos and everybody of the world and the Gips and all them, man. Okay, man, this man turning this thing up for us. You know, so guys on the street already know. Hold on, man. So then when the dudes came down here, it was an ugly sight. I think the whole South jumped on them. You know, they were catching planes at the late night trying to get up out of this place here. But we ended up eventually squashing it because, you know, it was like, okay, you know, hey, you know, Suge, I'm not one of them guys who you roughhouse.
Yeah, because, you know, down south, Luke, and they love Luke in Atlanta, boy. They be shaking their booty to Luke in Atlanta. So, you know, for these guys to diss their beloved Luke, and I do believe it's because Luke dissed them first for some reason, and Luke even doesn't even remember. I was listening to an interview with him. He's like, I don't remember why I dissed him. I just dissed him. And then, okay, so Dre has to come back. And then they released a song called Cowards in Compton.
Well, you know, we did the record. They did that before Faking Like Gangster. So then when Dre and them came back, when it was time for Cowards in Compton, I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't even part of it because I was like, nah, y'all gonna have that right there. But Luke paid me that money, so I represented.
Yes, that was an interesting time in hip hop, man. Very interesting time. And a lot of these beefs, they breed really good music. I mean, competition breeds great music, right? Let's see. What is another one of my favorites? And before we continue, I'm going to ask you guys to give me your picks. Comment down below. Do you agree with my picks so far? You know, so far I've said what? The whole Bridge Wars, The Bridge is Over, South Bronx. I love both of those. I talked about Real Mother F and G's, Eazy-E. I talked about Corrupt's Calling Out Names. I mean, come on. That Fred Wreck track, Record Haters by E40. I talked about that one. We talked about F with Dre Day, right? Very good one. Let's talk about a couple more of my favorites. These two, my last two, these will be my last two. But this one, for sure, will most likely be on people's top 10 lists. This is one of the ones you're going to see on the most top 10 lists when it comes to top 10 diss songs of all time. Tupac's Hit 'Em Up. When I heard that, oh my goodness, I will never forget. It may have been like the Saturday or a week after it came out or something like that, right? It was no more than a couple weeks after it came out. Me and my friends were at a party. That song came on. The DJ put that song on, and when I tell you, every person in that party recited every single line to that song, including the beginning and the ending. I F'd your B, you fat, and then he goes on the end, and Mobb Deep and the sickle cell thing, and they were doing all of that word for word, myself included. That's how many times we had already heard that song in the first week or two, because that song, when it came out, it was like, oh my goodness. At this point, obviously, the Biggie and Tupac beef was escalated to levels that would eventually lead both of them to being sent to an early grave, right? And everyone and their mama, including myself, have talked about the Biggie and Tupac situations. I'm not gonna go into it anymore. I'm just gonna tell you about how that song Hit 'Em Up made me feel and how it made Los Angeles feel at that time. That song Hit 'Em Up was crazy. And from the opening line, that's why I F'd your B, you fat mother effer. And he was talking about banging Faith Evans or getting head from her, one or the other. One or the other, but Faith Evans comes out to LA, links up with Pac, and the rest is history, and who really knows what really happened. I guess the only one that really knows what really happened right now is Faith Evans. She's still alive. Unfortunately, Pac and Biggie are not with us anymore. But Biggie never really came back. He would throw slick jabs. Let me take that back. I liked the way Biggie did it. Instead of doing a whole 4 or 5 minute song about you, he'll throw a little slick jab on a song. We all know the Jay-Z cut, where he says if Faith had twins, she'd probably have 2 Pacs. Get it? 2 Pacs. I mean, and that was about as most explicit or out there as he got it. He did those type of jabs where you didn't even realize it was a diss at Tupac until shit was all said and done. You know what I mean? Until they were both gone. They're like, oh shit, that was a diss. That was a diss at Tupac. Oh, just got it now. You know what I mean? But they had their beef, and it really sucks because they were really, really they could have made great music together. Could you imagine a Biggie and Tupac album? Sit back for a couple of minutes and just think about a Biggie Tupac album. That would have been amazing. That would have been huge. They did the song Running together, right? They did like stuff together. There's a famous clip on YouTube of them freestyling, rapping on stage at a concert, them and a few other people. So there's proof that they have done stuff together. But could you imagine a whole project of Biggie and Pac, man? That would be dope. That would be dope. Now, my last one, I would have to say is going to be most likely on your top 10 list. Not yours specifically, but on the generic greatest diss songs of all time top 10 list. But man, this song right here, when I heard this song, I played it back to back probably 30 times, 40 times, I'm not even exaggerating. I played it all night long, back to back to back. That CD was scratched within 3 days from being played so much. I ran home when I heard this song and let my little brother hear it. We have a moment together with this song specifically. I'm talking about Nas and Ether. Boom, FJZ. What's up? I mean, come on, dog. He lyrically destroyed Jay-Z. Takeover is not one of my favorites. I mean, it's a good song, don't get me wrong. I love that album that Jay-Z did that had Takeover on it, Blueprint. That's my favorite Jay-Z album of all time. Probably top 10 albums of all time. But Takeover, compared to Ether, in my opinion, from a lyrical standpoint and just at that time and remembering what I remember at that time, 2001 era, there was nothing like Ether. And going back to that beat. I mean, let's see who made the beat. Who made the beat? Let me see. Ether producer. Is it Ron Browse? Ron Browse made that beat, huh? I mean, that beat stands the test of time. And Jay-Z had no chance after that. A lot of people up until recently would say Jay-Z won the war. Nas won the battle. Jay-Z won the war. But I think Nas is doing really good now. He's doing very well now. He sold his stock in Ring and made a ton of money of that. He has so many investments and things like that. So one is to assume that Nas is doing well. So all things being hindsight 2020, I'm going to have to go with Nas winning that battle. In my opinion, Nas won that battle. Hands down, period. Jay-Z had some good lines in there, though. Don't get me wrong. The leaving condoms on the baby seat and all that stuff, that was all good stuff, man. To me, as a hip-hop consumer, I was consuming it. Keep it coming, baby. Bring it on. I need more. Give it to me. Oh, man. Good times. So they eventually reconciled and they ended up doing songs together, and I'm pretty sure they're cool to this day. I don't know. But Jay-Z's one of those guys, man. He'll throw a little slick line in there every once in a while. I'll be like, damn, are they still friends? Because he said something in a song, and I'm like, damn, is he going at Nas, dog? Like, wait, this was like recent. This was like not too long ago either, you know? But who knows? Hip-hop is so funny. But, man, I love hip-hop, and I love a good diss track. And there are so many out there. I mean, I could do another part 2 if I really wanted to, you know, of other diss tracks. But those are the ones that I could think of off top that I really, really love. The Bridge Wars, the South Bronx versus Queensbridge, Real Mother Effing G's by Eazy-E, and that beat. Like, come on, oh my goodness. Man, it's a knockout definition original baby gangsta. I mean, come on, dog. That whole song just all together just gets me excited. Pause. What about Calling Out Names, man? I said Calling Out Names by Corrupt. That's one that's probably not on too many conventional top 10 lists, man. Calling Out Names. Mother D, Mother M. Only X I know is Exhibit, a RBX extraordinary. You can take my beat. You can have my beat. 2 beat getting rich just to come to the West Coast and get stripped down. Beat to all over. Cause yeah, he says the B word too much, and YouTube doesn't like the B word. But man, that's a good one. He said, I don't give a F. Catch me in the all blue chucks. Gang bang the F out. Only thing I like to ride rough is Eve. The only thing I like that ride rough is Eve. He said the Rough Riders, all y'all suck. The only thing I like that ride rough is is Eve, and she was a shit at the time. And the rest of y'all mothers could give rhymes with D. I mean, come on, dog. So we had that, right? What else did I say? I said Record Haters by E40, going at AZ, going at Rasheed Wallace. I mean, that song right there, man. If you haven't checked out Record Haters, because that's one that's not on many people's conventional top 10 diss song list, check out Record Haters by E40. Let's see. We just said Ether, classic. Hit 'em Up, Tupac. I mean, come on. Those two usually will be on most top 10 lists, right? F with Dre Day, man. Come on. That beat, dude. Arguably Dre's second highest charting song, I would think, would be F with Dre Day right after Nothing But a G Thing. So, yeah, that one will be. He's going after Luke. Huh? He's going after Tim Dog, who said F Compton, right? And then obviously going after Eazy-E. But let's see, who else? Yeah, those are mine, man. And there's a lot of them out there. I could have mentioned the Eminem versus Ja Rule, and they were going at it. 50 Cent versus this. You got Beanie Siegel versus Jadakiss. I'm gonna have to do a part 2, man. I'm gonna have to do a part 2. It's official. As I'm thinking this, like, we just touched the surface on diss songs. I'm gonna definitely do a part 2. I do appreciate you. Let me know if you want to hear a part 2, man. If you want to hear a part 2 and you made it this long, comment down below. Yes, Dusty Vision, drop a part 2. No, Dusty Vision, we good. We don't need another motherfucking diss, an hour of you talking about disses. So just let me know, man. I will follow the lead. You know what I mean? If the numbers are up, and it makes sense, I'm going to do it again. But speaking of the numbers being up, man, I just hit 15 million views on my channel. And I'm so happy, and I just want to thank you guys, man. If you would have told me when I first started doing this thing consistently that I would even have 1 million views on my channel, I'd be like, you're crazy. Let alone 15 million views. So I got to thank you guys, man. I'm just going to keep putting out good product. I hope it's good. I'm assuming it's good because you guys keep coming back. So I'm going to just keep doing it, man. My numbers aren't where I want them to be. I truly believe there are invisible arms that are keeping me from growing and growing, but this is all organic, and I'm proud of my organic growth, and I'm gonna keep it pushing. You know what I mean? And I definitely like doing these live shows with you on Saturday, 6 p.m. Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone else in the middle and fucking Arizona and all y'all got to figure that shit out yourself. Whatever time zone is adjust. But I like doing these live, man. Just to get interact with the chat, interact with y'all, and just let you guys know, my history coming up and my story, man. This is all part of my story, dude. This is all part of my story. These are things that excite me, and I'm just glad I get to sit back and I have a platform to be able to discuss stuff like this. But I truly appreciate you guys more, man, because if you didn't tune in, if you guys didn't get me to 15 million views, I wouldn't be doing this, and it's not really about the money. Yeah, I make a little bit of money every month, which is, it's nice. It pays a couple bills, you know what I'm saying? I ain't hating on it. Keep bringing it in, but if it were about the money, I would have quit this a long time ago. It's more about just talking and just talking about my life. This is part of my life, and diss records and diss songs were part of my life, man. And I still get excited in 2024, just as excited as I got when I heard The Bridge Is Over in 1986. So thank you for going down this journey with me. I will continue. I shall continue, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.